If you watch the news, and I mean any news, doesn't matter what news you're watching, or read it on the intranets or wherever you get your news from, the topic that virtually everybody has been talking about is gold. Gold, 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 gold. I mean, gold has gone crazy. If you followed it over the last, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, it has just been a rocket ship straight up. A lot of reasons for that. We might have some time to discuss some of those. But if you're talking about gold, kind of the hallmark of gold that kind of always has denoted, gold and collecting and stacking gold has to be the South African Krugerrand. The Krugerrand kind of has always been that symbol of wealth and gold since it first came out in 1967. I think 67 was the first Krugerrand. It's named that for Paul Kruger, who was, I think, the first president of South Africa that they have, or one of the first prime minister. I'm not that up on South African history. And so they named it the Krugerrand, with the rand being the unit of currency is the rand. And then, of course, the famous, the animal of South Africa, which is the springbok that you have right there. So you have the springbok on the reverse and Paul Kruger on the obverse that you have right there. So it has been a hallmark of wealth and value and security for, well over 50 years now. We're right at 50 years. So what we have here is a Krugerrand. So understand, from 1967 to about 1979, I think, something like that, they made just the 1 ounce Krugerrand. Now understand, back then, 1 ounce Krugerrand was like $30. $35. So, it was pretty easy to put the ounce away. But then, gold starts going crazy in 79, particularly. If you recall, gold hit an all-time high in 79, as did silver. And they started making fractional Krugerrands, made a tenth, quarter, a half, and a 1 ounce. And that has continued on. And then relatively recently, not that long, I think it was 2020, something like that, they started making specialty collector Krugerrands, so proof Krugerrands. Actually, that's not true. They started that, I think, 2012. Could be wrong with that. But this is a proof Krugerrand. So you have the 10th ounce of gold, and of course, where gold is today, who knows what that's worth, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars. 10th ounce, so it's a 10th ounce of pure gold. But it's in proof condition, so it's a collector edition. So there's an additional, relatively significant additional premium to the proof. And if you look right here, it comes in this nice little box. Now, we had it certified, but it all comes in its original box, original paperwork, and all that other stuff comes with this. Has this nice little South African mint. There's a certificate of authenticity, a little book about the history of the Krugerrand, all that, and the box. Yours will come like that. We bought a big chunk of these and had them certified at NGC. Because remember, this is the proof coin, so this is the collector edition coin. They only made 3,550, kind of an odd number, but that's how many they made. 3,550 of these coins total. So the mintage on this is extremely small to start with. Even though we're 2023, it's not that long ago, but even then, gold was what, $2,000 an ounce? Now it's almost $4,000 an ounce, or headed towards $4,000 an ounce that we have on that. So you've got a significant amount of this is in the gold. But understand the collector value of this is significant as well because it is the proof version of this. So we had this certified, and like I said, these 2023s are difficult to get. Are difficult to get. This is how they come to you, just like this. So they come in this really nice little box, and here's the booklet and the certificate, and everything's all right there. And they're relatively difficult to get. So we had them certified, and then realized, after we took a look at it, that we have all the certified 70 coins. So the entire population of these is what we have. And I think currently we have about 30 coins, roughly, somewhere right around in there, which is basically the entire population, all the coins basically in existence in Proof 70. So you have an opportunity here to not only own gold and, kind of a classic gold coin in terms of the Krugerrand that you have with that. So the Krugerrand, always this hallmark of value and wealth and everything else. And you have it in the 10th ounce format, so you have an incredible, intrinsic value just in the gold itself. Then you have the collector edition, so there's only 3,550 total coins. but now you have it certified in perfect 70 condition. And we've talked about this at length in the past. The single most important determining factor of value in a coin, in many ways, is the grade. The higher the grade, the more it's worth. So you always, all the Krugerrands have the backdrop of the fact the intrinsic value of that you've got a tenth of an ounce of gold, so what 3.1 grams of gold is basically what we're looking at here, and that's net. I think they're actually what 92%, 91.66% gold, but it's a little heavier than that, so you get a tenth. A tenth of an ounce. So, I mean, that's important and desirable and collectible. So you have that intrinsic value. But then you have the incredible low mintage of the fact that it is a collectible, a collector 3,550. But now we take it one step further in terms of collectability. So you've got that backdrop of the intrinsic value. So now you've got it certified NGC Perfect 70, Ultra Cameo. Cameo means it kind of stands out, looks like a piece of cameo jewelry, that the frosted area, the high points of the coin are kind of extra show on that, so that's why it's called Ultra Cameo. And then we have that, and so in terms of Proof 70, you're looking at almost all the ones in existence. There's 15 that you have right there. That's about half of all the coins on the population report that you've got right there in 70 in these 2023 South African proof 10th ounce Krugerrands. And so, now you've got rarity at kind of an entirely different level when there's only several dozen of these coins that have been certified absolutely perfect. And so when we talk about value, as value being condition, the higher the grade, the more it's worth. One would argue that the condition, the proof 70 in this instance, is even more valuable than the mintage or even the gold. It's hard to argue that anything's more valuable than gold, the gold standard, if you will. But I would argue in this instance, in terms of numismatic rarity, in terms of collectible rarity, in terms of desirability, I think it adds substantially to the value and collectability of the coin is the fact that, like I said, there's only several dozen of them that are proof 70 perfect. There's not that many to begin with, but now you take that down to another level of collectability and desirability. Where, like I said, I think, the population report is in the dozens. There's not even 100, not even 100 of these in existence. So now we just have several dozens of these in Proof 70, and we have all of them. And it just so happens that we were able to find an original batch of 2023s. They didn't make that many to begin with. Okay. Now remember, this denotes this is different. This is different than the regular bullion version of this. This is the proof version. So, like I said, only 3,550, as it says right there on the certificate of authenticity. Actually, we got one right out there already. Got this great pouch right here, South African Mint. There's the South African Mint. This is the box. Then the paperwork. It comes with that, even though it's been certified. It comes with all this good stuff that comes with it. And like I said, that classic, denoter of wealth, if you will. The Krugerrand, which is Paul Kruger. Like I said, I think it was the first president of South Africa, is what you had right there. There's Paul Kruger. And the rand is the unit of currency in South Africa, hence the Kruger money, I guess, is what it comes down to. And then the reverse of the coin, which I think many people are familiar with, is the Springbok. I think like the national rugby team is named the Springboks, as I recall. Please, if I'm incorrect, South Afrikaners, please don't attack me for that. It's the best I could do. So that's all part and parcel of not only South African history, but also the history of wealth and collectability and desirability. So we have rarity on an incredible level here in Proof 70. Only, like I said, several dozens of these in existence. We have all of them. That makes this the best possible price that you can have on the planet. I always love when I can guarantee, absolutely positively guarantee lowest price, 100% exclusive to us here at CSN. As well with that, with the proof, comes with the book, comes with the papers, comes with everything else. Obviously, incredibly limited when we only have a couple of dozen, so you really need to pick up the phone. If you want to add some gold to your collection, not a much better piece than this one.